Jack Harlan reined in his horse at the edge of the ravine, the sun dipping low over the jagged peaks of the Arizona Territory. Dust swirled like ghosts in the wind, and his eyes narrowed against the glare. He'd been tracking a stray calf all afternoon, but now something else caught his gaze. A crumpled figure half buried in the sagebrush, blood staining the dry earth. He dismounted fast, boots crunching gravel. The woman was young, maybe 25, her dress torn and caked with dirt. A gunshot wound wept red on her shoulder. She stirred as he knelt, her eyes fluttering open, wide, terrified. "Water," she rasped. Jack uncapped his canteen, lifting her head gently. She drank greedily, then pushed it away. "Please, don't tell anyone." He frowned, scanning the horizon. No tracks, no pursuers visible. "Who did this?" She clutched his arm, nails digging in. "Promise, swear it." "Easy now. I'm Jack Harlan. Got a ranch nearby. Let's get you safe." Her breath hitched. "They'll kill you, everyone." "Who?" She glanced around, voice dropping to a whisper. "The Blackthorn Gang. My brother's their leader, Vance Blackthorn." Jack's blood ran cold. The Blackthorns, killers who'd burned half of Nevada to ash last year. Rumors said they were moving south, but no one knew for sure. "What are they planning?" She winced, shifting. A folded paper slipped from her pocket, edges singed. Jack picked it up, a map of Dust Creek, the town 5 miles east. Red X's marked the bank, the sheriff's office, the water tower, notes scrawled in rough hand. "Dynamite here, poison wells, midnight raid, no survivors." "God almighty," Jack muttered. She snatched it back. "I stole it, tried to run, they shot me." "Why tell me?" Her eyes met his, fierce. "Couldn't let them slaughter innocents, but if they find out—" "Please, don't tell." Jack stood, jaw set. The town, his town, had his sister Mary there, running the general store with her kids, folks he'd known all his life. Stakes couldn't be higher. "Can't walk away from this." She grabbed his sleeve. "You have to. They'll come for me first." He helped her onto his horse. "Not if we stop them." As they rode toward his ranch, the wind howled like a warning. Jack's mind raced. The Blackthorns, 20 men armed to the teeth, led by Vance, a devil with a quick draw. Dust Creek had a sheriff, but old and half-blind. No militia. If that map was real, the town was doomed in days. At the ranch, Jack barricaded the door, bandaging her wound by lantern light. Her name was Eliza Blackthorn. The air grew close in the small room, the flicker of the flame casting shadows on her face. She leaned nearer as he worked, her breath warm against his cheek. "Vance raised me after Pa died," she said, voice soft. "But he's gone mad. Wants to wipe out Dust Creek for the gold in the bank. And revenge. Sheriff killed his partner years back." Jack tied off the bandage, keeping his focus on the task. "Revenge? Sheriff Tom's a good man. Doesn't matter to Vance." She sipped coffee he'd poured, wincing. Her eyes lingered on him, bold now, tracing the lines of his weathered face. "You're different, Jack. Strong, not like them." He shifted, uneasy under her gaze. "Just a rancher." Her hand brushed his, lingering too long. "You could be more." Her voice dropped, a husky edge to it, eyes glinting with something beyond gratitude. She leaned closer, her torn dress slipping slightly, revealing the curve of her collarbone. "Stay with me tonight. We could forget all this." Jack froze, heart thudding. The air thickened, her intent clear. He pulled his hand back, standing abruptly. "Eliza, no. You're hurt, and we got bigger problems." Her lips parted, a flush rising in her cheeks. "I ain't asking for pity. I know what I want. And I know what's right." He turned, grabbing his hat. "This ain't the time. Town's at stake." She looked away, jaw tight. "Fine. Forget I said it." He nodded, tension coiling tighter. "Raid set for 3 nights from now. Full moon." Eliza's voice hardened, back to business. "Vance has a ledger, names, plans, hidden in his camp." "Where?" "Red Rock Canyon, 10 miles north." Jack rubbed his stubble. "Too risky alone." "You're not alone." She met his gaze, fierce again. "I know the way in." He nodded slowly. The moment had passed, but her words hung heavy, a distraction he couldn't afford. Dust Creek's fate loomed larger than any fleeting desire. One wrong move, and it all burns. Next morning they saddled up at dawn. Eliza rode weak but determined, her shoulder bound tight. The trail wound through canyons, shadows long and treacherous. Jack's revolver felt heavy on his hip. "Quiet," he whispered as they neared Red Rock. Hoofbeats echoed. Eliza pointed. Camps over the ridge, guards posted. They dismounted, creeping to the edge. Below, tents sprawled, men sharpening knives, loading rifles. Vance Blackthorn, tall, scarred, black hat low, barked orders. 3 days, boys. Dust Creek won't know what hit him. Jack's fists clenched. Ledger? In his tent, red flag. Wait here. She grabbed him. Too dangerous. Have to. He slipped down, heart pounding. Dodged a patrol, ducked behind crates. Inside Vance's tent, he rifled drawers. Found it. Leather bound, pages crammed with dates, targets, payoffs. Dust Creek circled in red. Poison water first, dynamite bank, burn the rest. A shadow fell across the flap. Jack froze. Who's there? A grunt outside. Jack dove under the cot as a gang member entered, grabbing whiskey. The man paused, sniffing. Someone here? Jack held his breath. The man shrugged, left. Jack exhaled, stuffing the ledger in his coat. Back up the ridge, he handed it to Eliza. Got it. Her eyes widened, a flicker of admiration. This proves everything. But as they mounted, a shout echoed. Intruders! Gunfire cracked. Bullets whizzed past. Ride! Jack yelled. They spurred hard, horses thundering. Pursuit thundered behind. 5 riders, gaining. Eliza glanced back. They're close! Jack drew his revolver, fired over his shoulder. One rider tumbled, but a bullet grazed his arm, burning. Damn! They hit a narrow pass. Jack wheeled. Go! I'll hold him! No! She reined in. Together! More shots. Jack fired again, dropping another. The rest scattered, cursing. They rode on, breathless, to the ranch. Inside, Jack bolted the door. They saw us. Raid might come sooner. Eliza nodded, pale. Vance knows I betrayed him now. Jack spread the ledger. Names of spies in town. The saloon owner, the blacksmith. Can't trust anyone. Tension thickened like storm clouds. Dust Creek's fate hung on a thread. Jack knew. Warn the wrong person, and it's over. But wait too long, same result. We ride to town at dusk, he said. Find Sheriff Tom. Show him this. Eliza touched his hand, softer now, no heat in it. Thank you. For not walking away. He met her eyes, steady. Couldn't. As the sun set, they prepared. Rifles loaded, horses fed. The threat loomed larger. Vance wouldn't stop. And now, he hunted them too. Dusk cloaked Dust Creek in a tense hush, lanterns flickering like nervous eyes in the windows. The main street hummed with uneasy life. Cowboys hitching horses, women scurrying home with baskets. Jack Harlan and Eliza Blackthorn rode in, their horses' hooves kicking up dust that hung heavy in the air. Jack's eyes darted to every shadow, the blacksmith, Jed, hammering late with a guarded glance. Pete, the saloon owner, wiping glasses with a smirk that didn't reach his eyes. They tied up outside the sheriff's office, the wooden sign creaking in the wind. Inside, Sheriff Tom Wilkins sat polishing his badge, gray hair tousled, his bad eyes squinting at the lamplight. Jack? Who's this? He asked, voice rough but steady. Tom, close the door, Jack said, low and urgent. Eliza handed over the map and ledger, her hands steady despite the pain in her bandaged shoulder. Tom's face tightened as he studied the papers, his fingers tracing the red X's marking Dust Creek's bank, sheriff's office, water tower. The scrawled notes, dynamite here, poison wells, midnight raid, no survivors, made his jaw clench. Blackthorns? Here? Raid in 2 days now, Jack said, leaning against the wall, his grazed arm stinging. Poison the wells, dynamite the bank, burn us out. Tom flipped through the ledger, eyes widening at the names of spies. Jed the blacksmith? Pete at the saloon? Paid off? Eliza nodded, her voice tight. My brother's men. Vance trusts them. Tom stood, his chair scraping. Gotta round 'em up, quiet-like. No, Jack cut in, stepping forward. One whisper, and Vance strikes tonight. They've got spies everywhere. Tom rubbed his chin, the weight of it settling in. Then what's the play? Arm the town, but secret, Jack said. Trusted folks only. No leaks. Tom nodded slowly. My deputy Will. Your sister Mary at the store, Doc Hale. Start there. Jack's gut twisted at the mention of Mary. His sister and her 2 kids were the heart of Dust Creek to him. If the Blackthorns hit, she'd be in the crossfire. Let's move. They split up quick and quiet. Jack headed to Mary's general store, the bell above the door jingling as he stepped in. She was closing up, stacking cans, her kids giggling out back. Her smile faded when she saw his face. Jack? Trouble? Big trouble. He locked the door, lowered his voice, and showed her the map. Blackthorns aim to wipe us out. 2 days. Her face paled, hands trembling as she clutched a rag. My babies. Won't happen if we fight. He pulled a rifle from under his coat, passing it to her. Hide this. Tell no one, not even your neighbors. Mary's eyes hardened, a mother's resolve. For Dust Creek. He hugged her, brief but fierce. Stay sharp. Next stop, Doc Hale's clinic. The old man was bandaging a ranch hand's arm, his hands steady despite his age. Jack laid out the plan, voice low. Blackthorns, Doc. They're coming. Doc's eyes narrowed over his spectacles. Hellfire, poison, and dynamite? Jack nodded. Need you ready, wounds'll pile up. Doc grabbed his shotgun from a corner, loading it with a practiced snap. Count on it. Back at the sheriff's office, Eliza waited with Tom, her face pale but set. Spies? She asked. Watching them, Tom said, peering out the window. Jed's acting shifty, hammering like he's signaling someone. A sharp knock. Deputy Will burst in, breathless. Sheriff! Riders spotted north, 10 men, armed heavy. Jack's heart thudded. Vance, they tracked us. Tom grabbed his hat, face grim. Ambush him outside town. No, Eliza said, stepping forward. That's what he wants. Draw you out, thin us here. Jack nodded. Fortify the town. Barricades now. They rallied their trusted circle. Mary, Doc, a handful of loyal ranchers. Barrels were rolled into the streets, windows shuttered, rifles hidden under coats. Tension crackled like a storm brewing, every creak of a floorboard making folks jump. Jack slipped into the saloon's back room, where Pete was counting bottles, his eyes darting too often to the street. Jack shut the door, revolver in hand. We know, Pete. Pete froze, bottle clinking. Know what? Ledger says you're Vance's man. Jack stepped closer, voice cold. You signaling him? Pete's hand twitched toward a knife under the counter. Jack was faster, tackling him to the floor, fist slamming into Pete's jaw. Talk! Pete gasped, pinned. Tomorrow night. Poison goes in the wells first. Jack tied him up, gagged him with a rag. One down. But outside, shouts erupted. Jed the blacksmith bolted from his shop, leaping onto a horse and galloping toward the canyon. Traitor! Tom fired from the office window, bullet pinging off a rock. Jack mounted his horse in a flash. I'll get him! Eliza swung up beside him. Not alone. They tore after Jed, dust choking their lungs. The blacksmith glanced back, panic in his eyes, his horse frothing. Stop! Jack yelled, drawing his revolver. Jed fired wildly, bullet clipping Eliza's hat. She didn't flinch, urging her horse faster. Jack spurred ahead, closing the gap. He leaped, tackling Jed from the saddle. They hit the ground hard, rolling in the dirt. You'll die! Jed snarled, knife flashing from his boot. Jack dodged, fist cracking against Jed's temple. Who are you signaling? Jed laughed, blood on his teeth. Vance, wells are poisoned. Tonight. Jack's blood froze. You're lying. Check ascertain the truth. Jed smirked, struggling as Eliza rode up, gun drawn. They dragged him back to town, bound and cursing. At the main well, Jack dipped a ladle, water bitter, metallic. Animals nearby shied away, noses twitching. Poisoned, Doc confirmed, sniffing a sample. Arsenic, deadly in hours. Panic rippled through the trusted few. Water's bad, whispers spread before Tom hushed them. Boil what you got, Tom ordered. Haul from the river till we clean the wells. But the stakes skyrocketed. Kids cried for water, folks hoarded bottles. Vance's plan was unfolding, squeezing the town like a noose. Night fell, watchfires casting long shadows. Scouts reported the Blackthorn camp growing. 30 men now, maybe more. We need help, Mary said, clutching her rifle. Telegraph Fort Benson. Lines are cut, Tom replied, face grim. Jed's work. Isolated, the town felt like a cornered animal. Tension thickened, every glance a question of trust. Jack and Eliza patrolled the outskirts, moving silent as ghosts. Your brother, Jack said, voice low. Can he be reasoned with? Eliza shook her head, eyes distant. Tried. He's lost to rage. A rustle in the brush. They froze, hands on guns. 2 gang scouts crept close, knives glinting. Now, Jack whispered. They sprang. Jack's shot dropped one, Eliza's took the other. Quick, clean. But the dying scout gasped. Vance knows. Attacks at dawn. They raced back, spreading the alarm. Barricades doubled, rifles passed to steady hands. The town was a fortress now, but brittle. Tom gathered the group in the office, his voice like gravel. Fight or die, no middle ground. Mary hugged Jack, her kids asleep upstairs. Be careful, brother. For you, he said, throat tight. Eliza stood close, her shoulder brushing his. We started this. Finish it together, he replied. As stars burned cold overhead, watchfires flared along the barricades. Hoofbeats echoed in the distance, Vance's men circling like vultures. The climax loomed, but not yet. Every shadow hid a threat, every sound a warning. Dawn broke bloody. Riders charged over the hill, 20 strong, guns blazing, black coats flapping like raven wings. Fire! Tom bellowed. Townfolk shot from behind barrels, precise and desperate. Gang members fell, horses screaming, but the raiders pressed forward, relentless. Jack aimed, dropped a rider with a clean headshot. Hold the line! Eliza reloaded beside him, hands steady. More coming! Vance led the charge, his scarred face twisted in fury, black hat low. Burn it all! He roared. Dynamite arced through the air, exploding near the bank. Debris rained, wood splintering. Chaos erupted. Women screamed, men shouted, bullets whined. Townfolk fought back, rifles cracking. Jack charged into the open, revolver blazing. Vance! Vance wheeled his horse, eyes locking on Jack. You, the rancher! For Eliza, Jack growled, firing. Vance laughed, dodging, bullet grazing his coat. She's dead to me. Eliza joined, her shot grazing Vance's arm. Brother, stop! Vance's eyes flickered, but he aimed at her. Traitor! His bullet clipped her side. She stumbled, blood blooming. No! Jack roared, tackling Vance from his horse. They hit the dirt, fists and knives flashing. Vance's blade slashed Jack's ribs, sharp pain flaring. Jack pinned him, knee on Vance's chest. It's over. Townfolk surrounded them, guns trained, faces hard. Vance sneered, bloodied but defiant. Not yet. A hidden gang member lobbed dynamite toward the water tower. The explosion rocked the street, the tower collapsing in a flood of splinters and water. But the gang faltered, townfolk's fire too fierce. Survivors fled, cursing, into the dawn. Jack helped Eliza up, her breath ragged. You okay? She nodded, clutching her side. Stopped the raid. But Vance slipped free in the chaos, vanishing into the dust, his voice echoing. This ain't done. Dust Creek licked its wounds. Wells were purged, but poison lingered. Sick kids, dead livestock. The town stood, but barely. Jack met Eliza's eyes, her face pale but fierce. Vance is out there. We hunt him, she said, voice steel. Before he returns, Jack agreed. The air was thick with fear and resolve. The threat wasn't gone. Vance's vengeance was a storm waiting to break. Tension coiled, the climax still building. Dawn broke over Dust Creek, revealing scars of battle, craters in the dirt, bloodstains on the boardwalk. 5 townsfolk dead, 10 Blackthorn Gang members buried in shallow graves. The wells were being purged, but suspicion poisoned the air worse than arsenic. Jack Harlan stood outside the sheriff's office, his side bandaged, pain flaring with every breath. Eliza Blackthorn leaned against a post, her own wound freshly dressed, eyes fixed on the northern horizon. Vance got away, Jack said, voice low. He won't stop. Sheriff Tom Wilkins limped up, leg wrapped from yesterday's fight. Scouts say he's holed up in Hell's Canyon, old lair full of caves. Eliza nodded, her face grim. Traps too, Vance's playground. We go now, Jack said. End this. Mary, his sister, grabbed his arm. Jack, you're hurt. Let the sheriff handle it. He shook his head. Vance wants blood. My town, my fight. Her eyes welled, but she stepped back. Come home. Jack, Eliza, Tom, and Deputy Will saddled up, 4 against whatever remained of the Blackthorns. The trail to Hell's Canyon twisted through Badlands, heat shimmering off red rock. Watch for ambushes, Tom warned, his revolver loose in its holster. Eliza led, knowing the paths from her years with Vance. Stay sharp. He's clever. Hours in, a rattle broke the silence, not a snake, but an arrow slicing past Jack's ear. Down, he hissed. Vance's traps, Eliza said, scanning the cliffs. Not Apaches. They pressed on, horses stepping light over rigged wires and hidden pits. The canyon mouth loomed, sheer walls, shadows swallowing light, echoes mocked their hoofbeats. Split up, Will suggested, voice tight. No, Jack said. Together, no mistakes. Deeper in, caves pocked the cliffs like dark eyes. Smoke curled from one. There, Eliza whispered. They dismounted, creeping close. Voices drifted from the cave, gruff, angry. Jack signaled, surround it, but a crack split the air. Rockslide, trip. triggered. Boulders crashed down. "Dodge!" Jack yelled, shoving Eliza aside. Will wasn't fast enough. A rock crushed his leg, pinning him. He screamed, then went silent. Blood pooled. "Will!" Tom knelt, checking. "Dead." Jack's fists clenched. "Damn him!" Gunfire erupted. 5 gang members above, rifles blazing. Jack dove behind a boulder, firing back. One dropped, clutching his chest. Eliza flanked left, her shots precise. 2 more fell, but bullets grazed her arm, blood trickling. Tom, leg slowing him, fired from cover. "Go for the cave!" Jack nodded, heart pounding. They advanced, shadows swallowing them. Inside, a lantern flickered. Vance stood by a fire, burning the ledger's pages. His scarred face twisted. "Sister, rancher." "Stop this, Vance," Eliza pleaded, gun steady. He laughed, drawing his revolver. "Too late." The cave exploded in gunfire. Bullets ricocheted off stone. Jack rolled, firing. His shot clipped Vance's shoulder. Vance roared, charging. Eliza fired, hitting his leg. He collapsed, cursing. "Tie him," Jack said, tossing rope. Vance's eyes burned. "You think this ends me?" Outside, shouts. More gang members, reinforcements. 10, maybe 15 closing fast. "Run!" Eliza yelled, dragging Vance. They hauled him out, but the gang was on them, rifles cracking. Tom limped, firing wildly, a bullet tearing his shoulder. "Go!" he shouted. Jack hesitated. "Can't leave you." "Get Vance!" Tom growled, reloading. They retreated, dragging Vance, but the gang pressed closer. Dust choked the air, shots whining. Then, hoofbeats. Mary's voice rang out. "Jack!" A posse from Dust Creek, Mary leading with ranchers and Doc Hale, charged in, rifles blazing. "Heard the shots!" she called. The tide turned. Gang members fell or fled under the posse's fire. Jack shielded Eliza, his side screaming with pain. Vance broke free in the chaos, grabbing a fallen gun. "Traitor!" he snarled, aiming at Eliza. Jack lunged, taking the bullet in his chest. Pain seared, blood bubbling. Eliza screamed, firing. Her shot caught Vance between the eyes. He dropped, dead. Silence fell, dust settling. The gang surrendered, hands raised. Jack sank to his knees, gasping. "Is it over?" Eliza knelt, tears streaming. "You saved me." Mary rushed up, sobbing. "Brother!" Doc pushed through, checking Jack's wound. "Poisoned bullet, arsenic like the wells." Tension peaked, life hanging by a thread. The posse carried Jack back to town, Eliza at his side. Days blurred in fever, his chest burning, world fading. In Doc's clinic, Eliza held his hand. "Don't leave," Jack whispered, voice weak. Couldn't walk away. Mary prayed, kids clinging to her. The town held vigil, the threat of Vance gone, but Jack's fate uncertain. The climax loomed, one final test to come. Jack Harlan lay in Doc Hale's clinic, his chest a furnace of pain, the arsenic-laced bullet poisoning his blood. The world blurred, voices fading like echoes in a canyon. Eliza Blackthorn gripped his hand, her face pale, eyes fierce. "Fight, Jack, fight." Outside, Dust Creek held its breath. 5 dead from the raid, wells barely cleansed, livestock still dying. The town gathered, lanterns glowing, praying for their rancher. Mary, Jack's sister, sobbed at his bedside. "You can't leave us." Jack coughed, blood flecking his lips. "Vance, dead?" "Yes," Sheriff Tom said, his own wounds bandaged. Gangs scattered. A scout burst in, breathless. "Riders, Blackthorn remnants, 20, maybe more, coming fast." Tension snapped like a taut wire. Eliza stood, wincing from her side wound. "I'll lead." Tom nodded grim. "Barricades up, now." Mary clutched Jack's arm. "Without you." Eliza's eyes met his, steel in them. "We'll hold." Jack struggled, voice a rasp. "No, I'm coming." Doc pushed him down. "You'll die out there." But Jack grabbed his revolver, staggering to his feet. Pain seared, but the town, his town, was at stake. He wouldn't lie down. Outside, dawn bled red over the hills. Barricades bristled with rifles, townsfolk ready but weary. Hoofbeats thundered. Grimshaw, Vance's brutal second, led the charge, his scarred face twisted in rage. "Surrender the girl," he roared, "or we burn you to ash." Eliza stepped into the street, gun raised. "I'm here." Jack stumbled out, blood soaking his shirt. "Leave, Grimshaw, last chance." Grimshaw laughed, leveling his rifle. "The dying rancher, pathetic." Jack's shot was faster, punching through Grimshaw's chest. The man toppled, shock frozen on his face. The gang charged, guns blazing. Townfolk fired back. disciplined, desperate, barrels splintered, windows shattered. Eliza fought beside Jack, her shots dropping two riders. A bullet grazed her arm. She stumbled, blood dripping. Jack caught her, firing one-handed, dropping another. "Hold on!" he growled. The gang pressed, dynamite arcing. An explosion rocked the saloon, flames licking the sky. Screams rose, kids, families, trapped near the fire. Jack's vision swam, poison clawing his veins, but he saw Mary, her rifle jamming, a rider bearing down. "No!" He lunged, shoving her aside. The rider's bullet tore into his shoulder, fresh agony blooming. Eliza screamed, firing. The rider fell. Then, hoofbeats louder. Dust Creek's posse had sent a rider to Fort Benson days ago. Lines cut, but a message slipped through. Cavalry crested the hill, sabers glinting, rifles cracking. The gang faltered, caught in a crossfire. The remnants broke, fleeing into the desert. Silence fell, smoke curling. Jack collapsed, blood pooling. Eliza knelt, tears falling. "You did it, Jack." He touched her face, voice faint. "Couldn't walk away." Mary sobbed, holding his other hand. "Brother, stay." Doc rushed up, injecting an antidote fetched by a deputy's overnight ride. "Fight, damn you!" Jack's eyes fluttered, world dimming. "Love you, Eliza," from that first whisper. She choked back a sob. "I love you." The town held its breath, waiting. Then, a low rumble. Not hoofbeats. The ground shook, dust rising. A hidden dynamite cache, rigged by Vance's men as a final trap, detonated beneath the town square. The blast was cataclysmic. Boards flew, the church steeple toppled, flames roared skyward, screams erupted. Jack, barely conscious, was thrown by the shockwave, Eliza shielding him. Barricades crumbled, and a second explosion tore through the bank, gold coins scattering like embers. From the chaos, a figure emerged. Vance, not dead, his death in the canyon a ruse, a body double. He staggered from the smoke, burned but alive, revolver drawn. "You thought you'd win?" he snarled, aiming at Eliza. Jack, defying death, surged up. With his last strength, he tackled Vance into the inferno of the square. Flames swallowed them both, a roar of fire drowning their struggle. Eliza screamed, lunging forward, but Mary held her back. "No!" The blaze consumed the square, leaving only ash and silence. When it cleared, neither Jack nor Vance emerged. The town stood stunned, the cost of victory too high. Eliza fell to her knees, sobbing. Mary clung to her, tears streaming. Dust Creek was saved, but its heart, Jack, was gone. Days later, the town rebuilt. Eliza stayed, leading the effort, honoring Jack's sacrifice. A new well was dug, clean and pure. A marker stood in the square. For Jack Harlan, who never walked away. The threat was ended, but the explosive loss burned eternal, a whisper that saved them, and a hero who paid the ultimate price.